Good evening. Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm about to give a really unpopular opinion, and I'm sure it's going to be especially unpopular.
In control. That's why they're easily being removed.
The government, states, they start putting these RICO acts on Diddy, all of these guys, and try to put it on these ongoing criminal organizations. I ain't never seen the government put a RICO act on the KKK.
If we sit there and be old school, we gonna miss the boat. You know, a lot of this kids 19 years old buying houses with Bitcoin, buying Maserati.
Wow.
They don't have no plan. They don't never talk about nothing positive about the Democrat Party. Everything is just anti-Trump. They're not willing to have a conversation. They call us fascists. We willing to have a conversation. Charlie Kirk's willing to have a conversation.
And? 180 now. 180, what's the pressure?
Pressure, this is Air Force flying into that.
Yeah, this is Adam Berg. He's giving me this
Pressure
information.
is now down to 896.
Oh, my Jesus Christ. Okay. All right, I'm going to hold it together here. So 896 millibars is stronger than Hurricane Milton when it made that run last year. Remember my viral moment last year? You know, 50 millibars in 10 hours, right? It got down to 897 millibars. Now it turns out Melissa has broken or gone past Milton's wreck. So there's only one hurricane. There's only one hurricane in October and November in the Atlantic Basin that's ever been stronger. And that is Hurricane Wilma from 20 years ago. And by the way, Wilma was on
I lived through that too. Wilma.
Today's the 28th of October. So again, Melissa is the strongest hurricane so late in a hurricane season. So again, this is all history. It's all bad news, especially for Jamaica. And, you know, I'll have a lot more to talk about some of what's driving this, what's producing these catastrophic hurricanes, because, by the way, this is the fourth major hurricane so far this year. 3 of the 4 major hurricanes have reached Category 4 and 5 status. 3 of the 4 or 4 of the 5? Anyway, a very large number. I think only one season, 2005, is the season that we had an equal number of Category 4 and 5 hurricanes. So again, a lot of history being made in a backloaded hurricane season, which is definitely and sadly about to be very, very tragic.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Party. Why I like the new party? Number one, it's a group of people that's on a panel We all have differences, but we all basically still come together at the end of the day. The new party for me is about unity. The new party for me is about educating people to the truth, letting people know what's been going on in our country. With that being said, shout out to the new party, man. We're going to keep it going with y'all.
Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm Gray Mars.
I'm Enzo.
I'm Skeptic.
I'm Kim. Sorry, I was muted.
It's okay. And tonight on the new party, we are going to be discussing the Category 5 storm that hit my family's country of Jamaica. So proud to be half Jamaican, and I know that many Jamaicans all around the world are saying a prayer and very sad tonight. But let's talk about some first. This was the strongest landfall in Jamaica's history, a Cat 5 storm with 185 mile per hour sustained winds and over 225 miles sustained winds. As you guys could see in that first clip, that was the storm chasers. They were in the plane, and the plane was so wild that one of the meteorologists vomited in the plane because they couldn't take it. So this is the strength of the storm. But many people are in disbelief. They don't know what caused it. Gray, what do you think about this hurricane being a Floridian?
Being a Floridian and dealing with hurricanes every year, of course, it's like you get used to it. But then, you see stuff like this. And then that's when you start thinking, like, I should always evacuate. Prayers for Jamaica. Like, I know some people from here, actually, that's stuck in Jamaica. There's a lot of Jamaicans that live in Florida. So prayers to them, and hopefully they can make it through this.
Yeah. This first clip I'm going to play has to do with the eye wall. This was in the eye wall. This was probably one of the most defined eye walls. You heard the meteorologist talk about the pressure. I think it's one of the strongest pressures we've ever seen. Let me play. Kim, what's your thoughts on the eye wall? I know you're from California. Have you ever seen anything like this? What do you think?
It looks like a scene from the movie Interstellar where they're chasing the wave. It looks otherworldly. Also, I'm not sure, but if those planes are actually like manually flown, are there people on those planes?
Mm-hmm. There's pilots.
That's wild. That's a adrenaline rush for sure right there. It's very sad. And prayers to all the people in Jamaica and in the Caribbean as well. Very sad.
Yeah, and this next clip I'll have Enzo react to. This is some footage that came out from Jamaica.
Oh my God! Respect your rules,
I'm tired for a piece of Black River, I'm tired. I not get no motivation. Hey, somebody come in Black River. Come in Black River. Eh? What is 7? 3, 8. Boy.
Got it. Yeah. That is able to.
So Enzo, and getting ready for this show, I was like on X, and everybody was like, trashing the American meteorologists because they were going over there to Jamaica, and they were like trying to like talk down to the Jamaicans, like, y'all should have did this. And the Jamaicans' response was, America wasn't prepared. America is still mashed up from North Carolina. What do you think about that? And do you think we would have been prepared for a storm this year?
So the thing is with hurricanes, there's really no preparing. It's just how to minimize damage. That's the only thing you can really do. There's no way to 100% prepare for anything like that. And my prayers are with the people in Jamaica right now. Jamaica, I have a love for Jamaica because I spent 6 months of my life living in Montego Bay a couple of years back. So actually, I love it there. And the first time I actually went to Jamaica was in 2004 after one of the hurricanes touched there on a cruise. So I really do love Jamaica. And like they said, it's the 20th anniversary of Wilma. Wilma PTSD from that storm. I remember that storm like it was yesterday. It wasn't even supposed to touch us. It hit the Yucatan and literally just went straight right across the state, intensified from a 2 to a 5 overnight, and then hit us. By the time it hit the East Coast, it was still at a 4. That stalled over where we lived for 7 hours. That was the scare. Like, I remember it like it was yesterday, being at my house. It sounded like a freight train was going past. And we had this big window in front of my house. My mom had an Escalade at the time, and it was packed down with everything like that. I literally watched that thing go up on 2 wheels. Scariest thing ever. And then the eye finally comes. We're outside. We're outside just looking up. I'm like, oh my God, this is like the clearest skies I've ever seen. And then out of nowhere, starts ripping and roaring again for another good 4 hours. Like, that was the scariest storm I've ever lived through. And for anybody out there, do not mess around with these storms. Just stay safe. Do what you have to do to protect you and your family.
Well, it's funny you say that. This is the storm chaser, and then I'll let Skeptic respond. This is the storm chaser I was telling you guys about. I got into a major beef with him. He's one of the nicer ones, I'll say that, but we'll save that story for another day. Nevertheless, people were mad because he was basically like, oh, Jamaicans know what they're doing. You don't need to feel sorry for them. And a lot of people took that like they were kind of downplaying like the help that they're going to need. But I kind of understood, like, because at least he was giving props to Jamaica because a lot of them were attacking them. Here we go. This is him.
Josh Morgan with Weather Nation TV, and I'm in Crawford in St. Elizabeth Parish in Jamaica. The violent island of Hurricane Melissa, Category 5 Hurricane Melissa, is making a beeline for this area. It's going to be here very soon. I'm in this big concrete building. I think I'm going to be okay, but the punishing gusts are starting to rattle it. And I think very soon I'm going to have to get inside and basically not come out until this thing passes, because this is going to be one dangerous storm. Winds of 180 miles an hour. Jamaica has not seen a hurricane like this in its history. Josh Morgan, Weather TV, Jamaica.
Okay, so Skeptic, what do you think about these people that sit there and do these storm chasings? Do you think that they genuinely want to bring information, or do you like say, what y'all doing?
Let me just say, people from like South Louisiana and Florida, you Floridians, that I have family that lives down south, and every time there's like a storm or something, I always call and I'm like, I'm freaking out, and they're like, oh, we're cutting our yard. So when it rains, like, our yard will be cut. You guys are built a little different, I will say.
You're not wrong.
Because I'm a panicker. I could never live down south. To be leaving for every storm. Like, so I do feel like there's a type of person that is built for that type of environment. Not me, but I respect those that are. Like, if you're out here chasing storms, you're just built different, because I could never. Like, I see a storm, I'm going the other way, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, people were out on boats. I got to get the clips because I'm like, I don't know if they're real, because there was a lot of fake clips, guys. This is what Montego Bay looks like. This was the clip, Enzo. I'll play it.
All right, y'all, update time. It's getting a lot more rainy, a lot more windy. Can't even see the ocean anymore because of the rain. Well, it's coming on through. I think she just made landfall on the southern tip. So, meteorologist Rakeem will be keeping you updated as long as I got access and service and power.
Get your ass back in here.
All right, bye.
So these are the people that you know that are there. Like, what do you think about the fact that they're outside in a hurricane?
Yeah, I have family. I'm just gonna say this. My family that lives down south, like when there have been hurricanes there, and they live like in New Orleans. So like if you know that's like coast, right? They don't like I don't know. I guess like once you've been through a few like I don't know, storms, they're like, we know what to do. And they're I don't know why you're not worried about it, but that's just like I guess like for example, like what Enzo just said, if you've been through a hurricane before, I guess that you're not as scared as to what's going to happen and you know the preparation, but like I've never been through a hurricane. I would be panicking. I would be freaking out. But some people, particularly when you live in this type of like, you know, geographical area, you kind of know what to do, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Well, guys, sending prayers. This is a developing story. We're going to switch gears here and go to the next topic of the night. We'll have more information Wednesday and Thursday night about the hurricane as it comes out. But we're going to switch gears here to some American news. And Mamdani, race for NYC mayor, and pushing the elites to Florida. Gray, this clip is for you. What do you think about this? Hold on. We're going to play and get your reaction. This is the prediction of what they're saying about all the people that'll be coming to Florida. Where did it go? Here we go.
Sounds like it is. Good afternoon, Sandra. Realtors in this exclusive area say there's a new sense of urgency for wealthy New York buyers. These are families, empty nesters looking to buy a home like this and gain residency. So some New Yorkers are taking a closer look at Florida's no state income tax, especially as a potential tax hike looms. Raising taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers has been one of Mamdani's key campaign promises. Luxury real estate agent Johnny Del Preti says this is a main concern.
High net worth people, you know, they're paying those taxes, so they really want to know what are they getting for what they're paying. There definitely has been more traffic, more flow through here in regards to showings.
And it's not just the realtors seeing the shift. Local officials say they're feeling it too. The mayor of Boca Raton says the Mamdani effect is real, and he's been fielding calls from worried New Yorkers. In June, the city launched a NewYorkToBoca.com, which has seen thousands of views, also igniting a billboard in Times Square.
We're getting people concerned about the potential of 17% tax rate just in city-state alone, potential of higher crime with comments about defunding police. Boca Raton is a stark contrast. The lowest property tax rate of any full-service city in Florida.
And Sandra, this home behind me is listed for $73 million. Although that price tag may seem high, realtors say this is on par for the competitive market down here.
73 million. Gray, so what do you think as a homeowner in Florida? What do you think about all these New Yorkers? Because Mamdani is 99% going to win. So what do you think about them coming here?
It's just like during COVID. They come, real estate skyrockets, but they do price some people out. I know people personally who's upset about the property tax, them not being able to buy housing because all these people before they moved from California and everywhere because they were blaming Gavin Newsom. So they come here and then they think it's sweet, and then some of them don't last, and some of them think that they want that Southern culture, but they really don't. They still want that blue city feel, but they come here and then they don't like it. So we'll see what happens. But us Floridians have to deal with them moving here with cost of living and cost of housing.
Yeah. Well, again, he's going to win. Good luck to them. This is AOC in her speech. I'll get Kimberly to respond to this.
City was built by the Irish escaping famine, Italians fleeing fascism, Jews escaping Holocaust, Black Americans fleeing slavery and Jim Crow, Latinos seeking a better life, Native people standing for themselves.
Get the Italians out your mouth.
Kim, do you think she's genuine? What do you think of that speech? Kind of reminds me of when she was hollering last year and what's his name? The hip hop congressman lost. Do you think she'll bring some luck this time to Mamdani?
I I think AOC is a clown. To her credit, Mamdani has flipped faster and harder for the Democrats than she did. He didn't even need to. He was set to win. I'm sure she believes what she's saying. It was a very passionate speech. Everything that she said in that part is true, but you're not going to reform the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is not progressive. The Democratic Party is not even left-leaning. I was hopeful that Mamdani would at least, he seemed at least to be consistently principled. He's recently flipped on some very important things that he didn't need to flip on. Like, he went on and said that the New York Police Department isn't racist or not as racist. It is. And then he also backtracked on the globalize the intifada, whereas before he would say things like, I wouldn't personally say globalize the intifada. Intifada just means, I forgot what it means in Arabic, rebellion. And now he's just completely flipping to the donor class. So all those people that are worried about all the real estate developers leaving New York City, do not fret. He's placating the Democratic Party. He had some former Hillary and Obama campaign workers join his campaign. He's flipping. And I actually donated to AOC when she ran, when she unseated, what's his name? I think his name was Crowley. I donated to her campaign, even though I don't even live in New York. And that's the thing with the Democratic Party, is that you can't change them from the inside. And sadly, I don't think that. I mean, I don't think she's sincere. If not, then she would stand on principle.
Yeah, well, I think he's flipping because there has been. I'm gonna just listen. New York had 9/11. I understand there's hard feelings from 9/11, if you know where I'm going with this. And now people have been saying they don't want a jihadist running New York. This is what they're saying. I'm not saying I agree with this, but this is what they're calling him. So let me play this clip. This is him placating, and I'll play the clip and let's talk about if it's a real story or made up.
I was speaking about my aunt. I was speaking about Zerafui, my father's cousin, who sadly passed away a few years ago. And for the takeaway from my more than 10-minute address about Islamophobia in this race and in this city to be the question of my aunt tells you everything about Andrew Cuomo and his inability to reckon with a crisis of his own making.
What do you think about all that?
So, Enzo, you are our resident New Yorker, New Jerseyan. What do you think about this story that he told? Many people were saying it's a lie, that his aunt doesn't live there. What do you think? What have you been hearing on the streets?
I heard the same thing, that his aunt didn't even live here. There's a lot more things coming out about him too that he's got to worry about him lying on his citizenship to come to the United States, and a bunch more. So I mean, if he wins New York, you're gonna get what you asked for, and you guys are gonna get fucked every which way to Sunday in this situation. Like, I think it's hilarious that he wants to raise the corporate rate as well as taxing white neighborhoods more than everybody else, and that's on his campaign website. White areas too. I mean, we see it already. You have billionaires and corporations going to leave New York the same way that they left California to go to tax haven states. You see, raising the taxes on the rich is not what to do, because I mean, California is the second highest unemployment rate in the United States. We're going to see that in New York, in the capitalist center of the world, pretty much, to be a ghost town. State-run groceries, state-run this, social workers working instead of police officers. Like, I'm sorry, like, this is just ridiculous that we've come this far, and we're gonna put somebody like this in who's literally a socialist. Like, I don't know. I got plenty of feelings about this guy.
He must have removed
It's
the word
terrible.
white. I'm on his website now, and I don't see nothing about taxing white people.
He's right. He did do that at some point.
Oh, so he removed it?
I don't know if he removed it.
Yeah. It was in the beginning when he first came out. He did that.
That's crazy. I'm like,
Oh.
so basically people pressured him into removing that, which is, I say all that to say goes to Kim's point. That's all I'm saying. That now he's like backtracking from being on the left, like the far left, to like being like, all right, we're gonna replace white with 1%. But anyways, nevertheless, this clip right here, I'm gonna have Skeptic react to. This is Jewish people supporting him because he had a lot to say about the conflict in Palestine and Gaza. I mean Palestine or Gaza and Israel, and now he backtrack on that. Let's watch.
Hi, Rabbi. Hi, Rabbi. Hi, Rabbi. Hi, Rabbi. Hi, Rabbi. Hi. We're among the thousands of Jewish New Yorkers who've been out door knocking and phone banking to elect Zoran Mamdani. We're also rabbis.
We know Zoran will fight to make our city affordable and safe for our families.
And for our neighbors of all faiths and backgrounds. As New Yorkers, we're also just people who live here,
who don't want to get priced out of this incredible city that we call home.
We know fellow Jews want to be able to afford housing, transportation, and childcare for their families too.
As Jews, as rabbis, as New Yorkers, we believe that all people deserve to thrive. Zoran agrees.
But let's get real. This isn't only about belief, it's about action.
So let's build a flourishing city.
Together, let's elect Zoran. Oh, Zoran!
Yeah. Oh, Skeptic. So what do you think? Is this genuine? Is this an act? What's your thoughts?
So I think multiple things. First, I would say that AOC is a very educated young Latino woman. So I really like AOC. I wanted to say that she has a double major in like foreign relations and I think economics. So she's really smart. And then I think that another thing, when people migrate out, we saw this in California during the COVID whole thing. People left California. They're actually migrating back in. So sometimes you think that the grass is greener on the other side, but you're used to a certain type of environment and it's not that easy to get accustomed to a different environment. Like, I know I'm not a city person. I didn't grow up in the city. I don't do well in the city. I like to visit cities and I could probably live there. If I needed to study in a big city, I could do that. But I'm a country girl at heart. That's how I grew up. And so I tend to like my space and I tend to kind of like smaller towns because you get to know people and it's like, you know, everyone's kind of like a big family. So if people decide to leave New York, I guarantee you that they will leave and then they're going to come right back. Florida and New York are two completely different places. I've been to both. And like New York, the first time I went, I did not like it. I disliked everything about it. I just liked how tight it is. There's no space. Everything is like right there. And I went prior to 2019. So like it was always like open and it was like too much going on, like too overstimulating for me. And then like Florida is kind of like country city, kind of like a suburb. So I don't know. I guess you can't, I mean, do what you want to do. But for these people that have lived their whole entire lives and have retired in New York, go to Florida. I want to see how long you're going to like that. I mean, I'm sure that some people will adjust well, but for the majority, the same thing with like California, I'm sure that they'll be back, especially when you have businesses and you're used to everything being down like whatever, 2-3 blocks. So like, I think that's a funny thing that everyone's trying to make a big deal about. I don't know about the whole Mamdani and supporting Israel. I didn't know that actually. So I think that's interesting, being that you're so progressive. I feel like everybody kind of agrees. That's almost like a bipartisan thing that we have. Everybody disagrees with what's going on in Gaza. So that's very that's a surprise, to be honest with you. I can't believe that he would be supportive of that. It's weird.
Girl, these New Yorkers never go back home. They stay here forever. So when you said that, I said, yes, leave. W, go home. But they don't leave. They stay here. This is their second home. They've been here. But I'm going to play this clip. This is a rumor that they claim is true, that Soros funds Mamdani. Let me play.
I'm Christina Awayo in Dallas, and here
are your top stories. Records have revealed that George Soros funneled $37 million to support Democrat socialist Zoran Mamdani's campaign and marginalize Andrew Cuomo. According to those recently released records, Soros, through his Open Society Foundation, funneled the money in recent years to the Working Families Party and at least 9 other left-wing organizations that supported Mamdani's successful campaign in the New York Democrat mayoral primary. The WFP, a far-left socialist-friendly group, received $23.7 million from Soros through its nonprofit fundraising arm, then used that money to help Mamdani. An additional almost $14 million was distributed to 9 other nonprofit organizations and their fundraising entities, all of which endorsed Mamdani's campaign and supported his progressive agenda. Specific groups funded by Soros included Make the Road Action, Community Voices Heard, Move On, Jewish Voice for Peace Action, which is described as an anti-Zionist group. Other unnamed profits also received funds totaling the more than $13.9 million figure. Mamdani, who has been accused of being a Marxist and communist, won the Democrat mayoral primary by a 12-point margin over Cuomo, securing a record 565,000 votes. While Soros and his family did not directly donate to Mamdani's campaign, the Open Society Foundation's grants indirectly supported his candidacy through these organizations' advocacy and ground efforts. That's what you need to know in Dallas.
Kamal, welcome. What do you think about Soros giving all that money to Mamdani, and he's supposed to be a progressive?
Y'all might want to go to somebody else. Shit, I'm still discombobulated from this weak ass internet, and I try to have the sound crisp to y'all because I got a mixer and stuff, but that shit was making my computer mess up like a mug. So can you go to somebody else first? Because I'm still coming.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. We'll be wrapping up soon. Enzo, what's your thought?
Right.
I just don't understand how this is, like I said before, this is even going on. George Soros donates a lot of dark money to a lot of people. We've seen it already with the No Kings protest. I mean, it's kind of funny that they call him a Marxist and a communist when you have Communist Party of the United States donating to the No Kings protest on par. And George Soros is just going to funnel money to everybody and anybody. That's what George Soros elections. So out of George Soros's handbook. I don't think I'm gonna sit here and say it. I'll probably be wrong, but listen, Mamdani's not gonna elect. And if they do New York, you really have lost the damn way.
You don't think he's gonna win?
I'm gonna win. I think he's not gonna win.
You don't think he's going to win?
No, I don't think he's gonna win.
Oh, he's
there's always that 1%.
I don't know. I think the chances are pretty low that he loses. I mean, like if you've been keeping up with the race, he's been leading.
At
and
70,
I want to say that he's just, he just
No.
now kind of like halved, I guess, right? He just now has like 30-something% and he's still winning by like 40-something. Like,
bro, Cuomo has to be the shittiest freaking governor of life. Because when Slim heard that Cuomo was running, he was like, oh, he's running against that loser? He's like, no wonder why this is coming from, Ray, am I lying? This is coming from Slim. He was like, oh, he sucks.
Who, Cuomo?
Yes.
Cuomo is shit.
He sucks. Yeah.
Hey, Cuomo. I would rather have Cuomo over Mamdani, though. Because at least you know what you're getting with Cuomo.
Enzo,
At least you know it's going to be shit. Huh?
He's polling so bad against this guy.
I know. Because everybody in New York hates Cuomo. That's why.
Oh, my God. Well, we got time for like a couple more clips. But this clip right here, this is Rand Paul talking about what's been happening in Venezuela, and we can react to it.
Somewhere where I think the two of you agree, and that's on some of the last bit of what Lucas was reporting on there about those strikes out in the sea. The president says there's going to be more information and briefing coming to Capitol Hill. Here's what he said Thursday.
You know, the land is going to be next, and we may go to the Senate, we may go to the Congress and tell them about it. But I can't imagine they'd have any problem with it. I think they're going to probably like it, except for the radical left lunatics.
All right, so I'll start with you, Senator Paul. What do you need to hear in a briefing? What questions do you have?
You know, it's not so much about a briefing, but we haven't had a briefing. To be clear, we've got no information. I've been invited to no briefing, but a briefing is not enough to overcome the Constitution. The Constitution says that when you go to war, Congress has to vote on it. And during a war, then there's a lower rules for engagement. People do sometimes get killed without due process. But the drug war or the crime war has typically been something we do through law enforcement. And so far, they have alleged that these people are drug dealers. No one said their name. No one said what evidence. No one said whether they're armed. And we've had no evidence presented. So at this point, I would call them extrajudicial killings. And this is akin to what China does, to Iran does with drug dealers. They summarily execute people without presenting evidence to the public. So it's wrong.
So, Skeptic, I think you're like the left that he's talking about. What do you think about what's been happening in Venezuela? What's your thoughts?
So I've been looking into it. So interestingly, there are actually U.S. government officials that have said that, number one, fentanyl is not being produced in Venezuela. So that's a very big thing that has recently come out. And another thing is that some of the government officials that were actually involved in the attack were saying that the way the reason why they were bombing the boats was not a actual like justified reason. Also, we're not at war, right? We're not at war with Venezuela. Why are we bombing the boats? And here's I don't know how true this is because I don't have proof for this. But while I was researching it, they actually said that they had reverse searched the video or the picture that was released, and that video was actually released in 2012. So we actually don't have the real like information from the attacks that they've been doing recently, which is interesting. It's not only Venezuelan citizens, but it's also Colombian citizens. So Colombia is upset about it too. We're up to 30 people that have been killed. So under our guidelines for war, even the reasoning for why they're like just killing these people, they're not even asking questions or anything. I think you should go through Congress. Like, what gives you the power as the executive branch to go out and just start killing people? We're not at war with them. We haven't gotten congressional, like there's not an agreement between Congress and the executive branch for us to go and bomb them. Why are we killing people? Why are we still bombing them? And this is a Republican, right, senator. Rand Paul is not a Democrat. So he doesn't sound like a radical left to me, being that he has been one of the biggest advocates he stood up for MAGA multiple times. Marjorie Taylor Greene has also been saying some stuff that actually makes sense. Like, some Republicans are starting to wake up from the MAGA delusion, and they're starting to actually see facts and say, hold on a second, this doesn't seem like it's making a lot of sense. And I'll also mention this as we're talking about Venezuela. Salvador has released some people that were in CCOT. These people are talking about the experience that they had at CCOT, being that they had not, they didn't have any criminal record with gangs. They were tortured for the whole time that they were there. And I think that those to sue the American government for additional damage that they have gone through, being that we didn't let them go through the court system for it to be proved that they had actually been a part of some kind of gang. And we put them in one of the worst maximum prisons, and they were tortured for the last however months that they were in there.
Kamal, you have anything you want to add to the topic about Venezuela and the boats?
Not really, but they're trying to get that oil though. That's all I gotta say. Hey, are y'all shit fucking up on y'all end? Cause y'all kind of keep going in and out.
No, we all. The only time it went in and out was just now with Skeptic, but for the most part, we've all been cleared.
Okay,
just
sure.
on your end.
Okay.
Well, all right, then I got one more clip and then we could do our closing thoughts. Because, guys, everyone watching, thank you so much for coming. I think a lot of people in the chat is from Blexit. We will be premiering our interview that me and Gray did today with Pierre Wilson. He is the strategic manager of Blexit. He started the chapters division of Blexit, so it was a big honor to get to meet him and interview him today. And he also was one of the first employee for Blexit. He worked under Candace Owens and Officer Tatum. So very excited that we got to meet him today. We will be playing that in a few minutes. We got one more clip. Guys, just when we thought we got rid of Joe Biden, Joe's not asleep. Listen what he had to say.
We can't kid ourselves. We are in one of those moments right now. In my over 50 years in elected public life, this is the worst I've seen it. If Ted were here today, he'd still be fighting like hell, but his optimism would be surely tested. Because truth be told, our very democracy is at stake, in my view. We all agree that our politics is broken, that political violence, never acceptable, is out of hand, that America should be a place not of extremism and fury, but of decency and grace, that our institutions are what makes us the envy of the world, and our democracy is worth fighting like hell for.
Oh man, Gray, he's your leader. He's your former president of the Democratic Party. What do you think about what Sleepy Joe had to say?
First, I'm gonna say that I feel like you put this show together like this on purpose for your people, the Jamaicans and the Arabs. This was a Nora ethnicity show, so that I felt like that's what you tried to do. That's the first thing I want to say. But as far as Joe Biden did what he had to do, and then I mean, like, I'm not gonna sit here and defend Joe Biden's age and try to say, oh, he wasn't showing signs of dementia or whatever. But when you go through those types of things, you have good days and you have bad days. So he probably felt like, okay, I'm good. I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna say this. But like Joe Biden did his job. He put us in a bad position, but it is what it is. I don't have any hate towards Joe Biden.
Kim, I saw you squinting, like you really wanted to see what he was saying. You was like, is that really him? Is it a robot? I know you was thinking it, girl. It's okay. What do you think about him saying that things are the worst it's ever been? Do you agree as somebody that is, I would say the most progressive on the panel?
I was trying to read where he was speaking at. It said the Kennedy Center or something, but so Joe Biden is the reason, not the only reason, but people like Joe Biden are the reason why we ended up with a Donald Trump. He co-wrote the crime bill, the bankruptcy bill. There's no disastrous trade agreement that he didn't vote for. There's no disastrous illegal war that he voted for, including for advocating for other illegal wars. Democrats like him are the reason why disenfranchised working class Republicans are pushed more to the right, and we ended up with a Donald Trump. There's no reforming the Democratic Party. We've seen that time and time again. Example A, AOC, Bernie Sanders, I suppose Zohran Mamdani now. We have to start to look at ways to exit, or not just the Democratic Party, the Republican Party too. Vote third party, 5% gets some federal matching funds the following election year. I also really want to briefly say Rand Paul is consistent on principle. I would like to call on all my Republican friends to follow in his footsteps and be consistent on the principle. America first. Okay. Also, Ron Paul is one of the reasons why I got into the anti-war movement. Some of my libertarian friends are consistent on that principle. I would have voted for Oliver, but I voted for Jill Stein this last election.
That's good to know. All right. At least I know you voted, because some people, like the other progressive person we have, she didn't vote.
It's completely illogical to vote for the Democratic Party and say you're against war.
Oof. Well, she didn't. Yeah, she didn't vote for Kamal and she didn't vote for Trump. She just didn't vote. All right, guys. This was a good show. We are going to start our closing thoughts because at 9 o'clock, I promised Blegs that we would play the interview. Ladies first. Skeptic, what's your closing thoughts?
So, Donald Trump is the same age that Biden was when he was sworn in. So that's interesting. People always like this. It's so funny because I feel like a lot of the time people will have these hypocritical arguments, but they don't realize that, the same applies for them. Anyways, I think that there's so much stuff going on right now. And I want to say to those Americans that are suffering because of these bad policies that were passed, this is why we don't vote inadequate people and underqualified people into office as presidents. This is why we don't vote felons into the highest office of our nation, because now they're cutting disability for Social Security. Social Security offices are closing. They had been closing under the Doge department. Now you see older people that are trying to get information on how they can get their benefits back. Offices are closed. We're seeing that our farmers are not America first. We're going to be importing beef from Argentina. So America first was a lie. You got played. We're seeing our farmers go bankrupt. Where I live at, there is a farm that's going bankrupt. And it saddens me when I drive by there. But they used to have a big old Trump sign. And I was like, well, I guess you voted for your own bankruptcy. So I don't know how bad I can feel for you. Hard times are about to come. I know a lot of people aren't going to have food stamps. I know some people who receive food stamps are going to get a cut down on it. So I say, I'm sorry that America chose incorrectly. I think we need to educate ourselves so we can make better decisions coming in the future. And I do think that there's a blue wave coming. So stay strong, go out and try to find out how you can make food with as few ingredients as you can, and follow us on TikTok.
She's had a blue wave. God damn. Uh-oh. All right, Kim, what's your closing thoughts?
There's always a red and blue wave. It's a tug of war. At the end of the day, both parties are completely sold out. We just saw that clip with George Soros. That's how you get those careerist politicians who, once they get in office, well, actually not with Zorhan, I guess he hasn't been in office yet, their political ambitions exceed their principles, and then they start flipping on a lot of really important topics. For example, the Affordable Care Act. The real solution to that would have been single payer. But the Obama administration chose to placate their insurance companies' donors and gave us Obamacare, which just made a bunch of insurance companies richer, and on and on and on and on. So the real solution is to break away from duopoly, this corporate, rapacious, murderous duopoly. They all vote for war. They all vote for these disastrous trade agreements. They're completely crippling out the American middle class. And a lot of people are being pushed to extreme left and the extreme right, because they're looking at this country and its politicians, and nobody's really doing anything for them. It just keeps getting worse and worse. And that's why whenever we get a Democrat in office or a Republican in office, it's just back and forth, tug of war. They're two sides of the same coin.
Thank you, Kim. That was great thoughts. Thank you, Skeptic. Enzo, what's your closing thoughts?
So my closing thoughts are: this is a great episode. A little bit different. I'm gonna step away from the politics for a second and talk about the hurricane in Jamaica and all the other islands that are affected. Stay safe to everybody out there, to Jamaica as well as the other affected islands in the Caribbean. My thoughts and my prayers are with you and your families. We wish the best for everybody, and if it does make landfall in the United States, everybody please take the right precautions. Save yourselves as well as your loved ones. If you're in evacuation area, get out of there immediately. Don't try to ride it out. It's not worth it. It's not worth risking your life. With that being said, I hope everybody has a great night and have a great week.
All right. Gray, what's your closing thoughts?
I'll echo what Enzo says about the hurricane. Prayers to Jamaica and anyone else that might get hit, because I heard it's still going. So prayers out to those people, as hopefully people can stay safe. As far as tonight, basically talking about George Soros and him giving money to Mamdani. Well, when we saw Trump, I felt like what people said was, well, at least Trump is using his own money to basically pay for his own campaign, his own thing. So it seems to be that money's the issue, that we're using money, and that's how politics is being pushed. Because now we've seen what someone does when they use their own money, and it doesn't seem to be a solution. So I feel like we take money out of politics, we'll have a much better political system. What we always say on a new party, always vote.
I'm going to do my closing thoughts and then I'll let Kamal go. Guys, this was a great show. Thank you to everyone that is sending positivity and love to Jamaica. One love, one country, one Jamaica. And I'm going to be short and sweet. Jamaica has faced the fury of the storm, but not even 185-mile-per-hour winds can break the spirit of a people born from strength, faith, and unity. So, guys, stay strong. Big up to all my Jamaican brethren out there. We got this. All right, Kamal, what's your closing thoughts?
All right, man. Prayers to Jamaica. You feel me? I like Jamaica. I've been out there actually recently. You feel me? Second, I'm sorry today, y'all. Man, the internet was whooping my ass, man. And I tried to give y'all a better audio experience. I got a mixer on here now and stuff. I don't know what the hell was going on. The shit was just acting all types of wonky. I'm blaming you, David. It's your motherfucking fault. Shout out to you for saying what's up, by the way. But I'm blaming your ass for my internet. But anyway, like I said, prayers to Jamaica. You know, I'm gonna watch the replay of this episode. You feel me? Once again, I'm pretty sure y'all had a great conversation, and it was a great panel today. Also, if y'all watching on my end, y'all already know I got the new party pinned to the top. Y'all go subscribe to their channel. You feel me? And then to my channel, Kamal Johnson Network, over there and check out what I got going on. Please do. And George Soros, I ain't gonna lie, sounds like a villain name, so he must be a villain. Oh yeah, in Venezuela, I think they trying to get some oil. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. This seems like an oil war, but hey, what do I know? I'm gonna just ask Chat GPT. And Eric Klein, you hella funny, bro. You keep saying I look like Huey from the goddamn what's that damn cartoon? I can't think of the cartoon right now.
Boondocks.
There you go, Boondocks and Afro Samurai. Eric Klein, you funny as hell. But I hope everybody have a good night. Hopefully I get all the kinks worked out so I could give y'all a better audio experience like I was trying to do for y'all today. And yeah, y'all go follow the new party. Hit that notification bell so you know when they go live.
Oops. Okay, guys. We will be back Thursday night. We will be talking more about the storm. But for right now, everybody waiting, here we go. This is the world premiere of our interview with Pierre Wilson. Guys, thank you so much for watching. And hit the like button if you haven't already. Here we go.
Senior Director of Blexit and the founder of the Blexit chapters. I want to share why Blexit isn't just another movement. Blexit is the hands and feet of real change in minority America. From the streets of Baltimore, Atlanta, Chicago, and Detroit, to the campuses of our nation's historic Black colleges and universities, we are there. We don't just talk about the issues, we get directly involved right in the heart of where liberation is needed the most. Unlike the left, we don't believe that the solution to fixing problems in Black America relies in more government handouts. That's why we address the root causes. We know that so many in the community don't chase after that dream job because they lack the confidence. But why? It could be as simple as they've never been taught how to write a resume. So we have resume services. We do job training. We believe with the right resources and tools, you can do more for yourself than whatever the government can provide you. We know that if someone ends up on government dependency, their children are more likely to end up on it as well. We are making a genuine impact, one community at a time. And here's something remarkable. Over 70% of our leaders once identified with the left, but they've made the powerful choice to break free from a victim mindset.
Oh, you know.
Now they're helping others do the same, reclaiming control over their own lives and futures. We are on the front lines, delivering logic, truth, and empowerment to those who need it the most. If you are ready to be a part of a movement that's not just inspiring change, but actively creating it, now is the time. So partner with us and let's take this cultural revolution to the next level.
Wow, sign me up. Guys, I'm very excited. We have the Senior Director of Blexit, Pierre Wilson, here. That is a really inspirational video, and I'm so excited to have Pierre here. Gray, you gonna join?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if Pierre knows, but I'm the left-wing part of the channel. But thank you, Pierre, for coming. That video was very good. So let's get right into it. Tell us about your history and why you choose to serve in Blexit.
Well, I actually grew up
very left leaning. So for years, or you ask people who knew me in my childhood, my younger years, I should say, they would probably be shocked. If you asked them if they thought I would be, right leaning today, they were like, absolutely not. I thought he would absolutely be left leaning because I was, speaking all the talking points of the left. I would, marching with BLM. I very much saw myself in a different light than the light I see myself in today. And that's not to completely knock everybody on the left, but it's just the mindset that I had was very much a victim mindset. I believed all the things that were told to me, like I was probably going to have to work 10 times harder to reach success within my life. The police were going to see me immediately and not like me because of the color of my skin. That there would always be I was never told the white man's name, but I was always told there was going to be some white man around every corner blocking me from success. So, I truly believed a lot of these things for many years, and I would share them. I would share them with other people in my life. But I had a few different moments in my life that now that I am more open about my conservative beliefs and values, and I know how I feel, I know where I stand, where I look back on and I say, okay, Lord, that was a couple moments where I think you were tugging at me. I don't walk through all of them today because there's a good amount of them, but there was one situation that I remember because I attended school for 3 years at a historically Black college university. And I remember sitting it was like a forum they had. And during that period of time, there was a primary going on between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. And, anybody who knows, you guys know this, like in a large amount of Black community, you don't even consider the candidate on the right. The real presidential election is the primary, who comes out of that primary, because whoever comes out of the Democrat primary is typically who most Black people are going to vote for, right? So the real election is, who are you going to pick? So it was Hillary versus Obama, and they were passing the mic around and everybody was saying, Obama, Obama, Obama. And remember, I'm at HBCU. I wasn't sure yet who I was going to vote for between the two of them because I didn't know a lot about Obama, and I did know a little bit about Hillary at the time. So I was really still weighing my options. And I remember when the mic got to me and I said that, I said those exact words. I said, I'm not sure. I really have to continue to do more research. I really don't know. You would have thought you would have thought that I said I was going to kill someone's cat in that room. You could have heard a pin drop. People were shocked that I did not just say Obama. And the girl who got the mic after me, she was like, how can you as a Black man say that you don't know who you're going to vote for? And I'm like looking at her and she's looking at me because I'm waiting for her to finish this statement, this comment. But that was it. It was that I was Black and he was Black. So that should have been enough. And I was like, that's not enough. What if a white person said that? What if a white person said, I'm voting for Hillary because she's white? How would we all feel right now? So that was a very troubling moment for me where I realized, are we voting because we really believe in a person, or are we voting because this is what we were told to do, what we always have known, right? And then I'll just say this, the last kind of really, I guess, red pill moment for me was I was watching a video of different conservative influencers. I was really bored one night, man. I had to be really bored to do that. But they were saying some things that were shocking to me that I knew. I was like, they're lying. They were talking about the single motherhood rate in the Black community, Black on Black crime, the welfare system, how it got started, where we are today, the way it's hurt Black, all these things from a perspective I had never heard. I was like, I've never heard anybody talk about it from this angle. So I'm writing these things down and I'm like, absolutely not. They're lying. They're wrong. This is not true. So I go and I start to do my own research and I'm like, I'm going to fact check them. I'm going to prove they're wrong. Man, when I tell you, almost every single thing that I had written down was exactly like they were telling the truth. This was all true. So I was like, wow, why? I can laugh about it today, but in that moment, I felt lied to. I felt like I questioned everything. I didn't know if I had ever been told the full truth. I felt a lot of different things, and I'll wrap up because I know I'm going long-winded, but I decided to speak up one day and share my beliefs. At the time, Brexit had just launched. Candace and Brandon had just started it. And they said they were going to do these shows. They were like, oh, we're going to do these shows around the country. I'm like, these shows are great, but what about people like myself who don't have anyone to turn to? I don't know any other conservatives. I don't know anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I can go to the show and I can feel great, but what next?
Mm-hmm.
So I took it upon myself to just create a Blexit chapter, the first one, if you will. And I'm so thankful that
Wow.
Brandon didn't send me a cease and desist letter because they never authorized this chapter. And I wanted to build a space, like a community, a place where people can be conservatives and it'll be okay. 3 months later, Candace saw like the work we were doing on social media because we had created a page of a friend and I that I met at a Republican club. She loved it and she DM'd me and she was like, I want to do this across the country. We get on the phone. 3 months later, I was hired as the first employee of Brexit. So here we are today with chapters now in every state. So definitely a God thing. Definitely a God thing.
Amen. Yeah, congratulations. So you are like the founder of the chapters per se. That's really cool. I didn't know that history. So I have two questions. One, what HBCU did you go to? Because you mentioned it.
University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. My grandfather actually went there too. So most of my family had graduated from Howard. Like my grandmother, my dad, my sister, my aunt. Like we were a Howard family. But my grandfather, who was like my hero, he graduated from the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, and I wanted to make him proud. So I ended up not graduating from there. I ended up graduating from Salisbury University because the major I wanted was political science. But I spent 3 years there. I was elected junior class president there. But I ended up graduating at Salisbury up the road because I didn't have political science. So
Yeah, we have that in common. I started at FAMU and then I switched over to UCF. So I definitely can relate to that transition story. So what are the future plans of Blexit now that you are the senior director?
well, I think more than anything, and what I tell people all the time is that Brexit isn't here to force anyone to believe anything. We've had individuals who we've had conversations with, and they're like, after talking to you guys, after doing some research or whatever, I still feel like I lean left. Cool. I think our goal more than anything is like we want to educate people. It's almost like having a puzzle, and you only have half of the pieces. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's the case for a lot of people in the Black community. Not everybody. I don't want to group everyone to the same box. But for a lot of individuals that we talk to, especially on these campuses, we're educating them on things they've never been told, that they've never heard it from that perspective. They've only gotten the story from another person who is liberal. And they have not heard a conservative's perspective. So I think for us, we always feel like it's our duty, it's our job to provide the remaining pieces of that puzzle so that when you put those pieces together and you see that full picture, you can decide on your own where you stand, not where your mom stands, not where your daddy stands, not where grandma stands, not what the teacher's telling you. What do you actually believe? And I think we can go to bed at night feeling better when people make decisions like that are their decisions. So for us, it's really going to be continuing to provide those puzzle pieces in ways that I think the right has done a really bad job. I talk about the right sometimes too. The right has spoken a lot about what needs to be done in the Black community, but there wasn't enough work being done in the Black community. And Brexit is changing that. That's why you see us on HBCU campuses. That's why you see us in Black churches. That's why you see us in these places, because it's not enough to sit and just talk about them. You have to get boots on the ground and actually meet these people where they are, have this conversation, and just really, spread a message of empowerment. Even on this tour right now, I know the media is having a field day with what they're saying, but I'll be real with you. We have a ton of footage. We're going to keep releasing more. It's not the students. It's the faculty. It's not the students. The students are great. And there's been a lot of situations where people will say, I agree with a good amount of that. And there's some situations where like, you know what? I agree to disagree, but you guys are cool though. We get a lot of that too. So it's, the media will run with a different narrative, but we just want to continue to spread a message of freedom, empowerment, and provide a different perspective for people to think about.
You answered a lot of our questions, but was there a particular reasons that you guys pick HBCUs?
More than anything, I think it's twofold for me. One is kind of personal because I went to one. So one is kind of like that connection. I remember what it's like being on HBCU, and I know there's like a mixed feelings in the conservative world about how they feel about HBCUs. Do I think that they're needed in the same way they were needed in the past? No. But do I think they're rich in history and I still have a great respect for them? Absolutely. I think HBCUs are so rich in history. I remember being at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and there was this room that we had. I wish I could remember what it's called. My wife probably knows. But there was just filled with pictures of history from how it got started to the old football team we used to have and how back in the day, the football team had gotten so good that it was beating the University of Maryland College Park team, the predominantly white team, and that resulted in some funding being cut at one point because we were almost too good. So they were definitely needed back in the day because Black people didn't have the same opportunities as I feel like Black people have today. Even though I don't agree with the left's narrative of why HBCUs should be here, I still do personally have a great respect for them. But more than anything, I know when I was on those campuses, there was a guy too who said he was conservative. And I remember being one of the many, and I'm not proud of this anymore, but I remember being one of many of us who were making fun of him, joking on him, calling him names, saying all sorts of stuff. And I wish I could apologize to that guy because it was bold for him to say that, and because on that campus there really wasn't room for that type of thought. Like you were seen almost as a clown, almost, right? Like it was not a place where you could have open dialogue and share different perspectives. It was very much like, this is a left-leaning school, this is a left-leaning campus, the professors, everyone. So Blexit needs to be there to answer your question. Like, if I feel like it's almost our duty to be there, because if we're not, who is going to have these type of conversations on these campuses? Who's going to bring this type of perspective? And for students that we are meeting who say they are conservative, many of them are in fear of speaking up. You know what I mean? True. We just had this happen at Hampton. We had two young ladies who were they were like, I believe in what you're saying. I feel like I don't have anyone to talk to. Like they were so all in. And they got pressured. They got pressured by their peers now to back out, to like not do the club because they were going to help us open the club and register on campus. They just got pressured. You have messages and all sorts of stuff from them saying the opposite. They were excited to come to an event, and of course we're not going to. Out of respect for them, they're students. Like we're not here to just embarrass people, so we're not going to release their private messages. But we're going to continue to try to work with them behind the scenes. But we had it. We had they were so stoked, but now they've received pressure. Hampton University put out a statement. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, and I get it. It's like, and I'm like, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that at all. But unfortunately it is. So I think it's almost like our duty. It's our mission. Like we have to do it. If not us, who else? If not us, who else?
Yeah, and that leads into my next question. What was the reception? I want to share this screen because this went viral. And this was in particular talking about Howard University. Washington Post says Howard University's homecoming collided with conservative politics when the Turning Point USA-backed Blexit movement showed up uninvited as part of the organization's tour of historically Black campuses. And I want to say this, Pierre, I don't know if you're okay with me saying this, but my understanding is this was planned before what happened to Charlie Kirk. So they're making it seem like it just happened. Like that was what a lot of people have been saying online. Can you speak to that? Like, what do you think about that misconception?
Yes. So glad you brought this up. So this is actually our third year doing Educate to Liberate. And these are not things that you can just plan within a week or two. There's a lot that goes involved that goes into planning something like this. We have to make sure we have the talent. We need videographers. We need photographers. We need to make sure we have our student leaders on the ground. There's schedules that have to be coordinated. There's funds that need to be. So listen, I think my team is pretty super. They're great. They do a lot. We work a lot of late nights, but man, did they think we did this in a matter of a couple of weeks? Wow. That's interesting, but people can just really actually go back and look and see that this is year 3. We've been doing this since 2023, and the HBCU initiative that we've had has been in place, my gosh, since maybe 2021. So this is not a new thing for Blexit. This is something that we believed in. It's gotten a lot more attention, obviously, after what happened to Charlie, founder, my friend. It's gotten a ton more attention, but this was not something that was done just in the aftermath of him being murdered. We've always believed that we belong on these campuses, that we should create an environment where it's okay to speak out about your conservative values. We can do it in a way that's loving, that's supportive, that's not controversial. They're saying things like we're there to cause chaos and all this other stuff. I'm like, no, we're not there. We're here to have a conversation. If it was so chaotic, you would have heard stuff over the last 2 years about how chaotic we were. Why wasn't there any news reports about us being chaotic last 2 years. That's a narrative that's being put out there, you know. And again, I will say this over and over again: the students have not been the issue. It's largely been the faculty and staff. It's not been the students. I'm not saying every student agrees with us. I would be lying if I tell you that. Other students are like, no, I don't agree with that. But even then, like, they're probably like, but we love the same sports team though, right? It's always respectful. Like, it's not, we find something that we may agree on, even if it's not every cultural political issue. And again, if I had a penny for every time people have said, you know, you guys are not that bad, I'm like, well, thank you. You know, I appreciate it. Because and the sad part is that they have to say you guys and say it that way because it speaks to what I was saying. We've been taught that they were, I don't know, we have wings and we have 3 legs or something. No, we want the best for the Black community. We just go about it. We have different ways of how we get there. So, and I think a lot of them see that.
I saw that Ron DeSantis actually passed something like for Turning Point to allow chapters in the school. So specifically for Turning Point. So would there be future partnerships with HBCUs, including local chapters for Brexit?
Yeah, and what he did, and I was very proud to see that, and what he did was for our national field program. Part of Turning Point's orbit is they have a student group that is a little bit different than ours. Like, we focus more on minority communities, but these other student group focuses pretty much on all different sorts of college campuses, high schools, and I love that he did that. Basically, every high school has to allow a Club America, which is our high school student program. They have to allow a club to be formed if a student wants it to be formed. It's so sad that we have to do that, but unfortunately, yeah, we may have to talk to the governor and other governors about things like that, because we do, for example, we have some students on campuses now who Brexit recognizes, like, they're recognized as a club for us, but they're not recognized on the campus because the campus is stalling it. Like, they're stalling the paperwork. We have one club that's been waiting for over 6 months. You know, they've turned everything in. They have everything they needed, all the requirements met, but it's sitting on someone's desk. And every time we say, hey, can we get an update? Oh, we're working on it, you know, or it's this person, it's that person. So almost filibustering it or whatever you want, you know, whatever way you want to phrase it, but they're holding us up from being registered, and we know why. So sometimes we have to have things like Governor DeSantis or these other governors who have to say, hey, if you don't allow these clubs, then we're going to come after you with the full power of the governor's office. So that's something that we will consider, but I don't know that it's the route that I want to go right away. I am doing everything in my power to work with these universities. Some people think I'm absolutely crazy for wanting to do that. Call me hopeful, whatever you want, but I really want to do it as best as possible. The right way. I want to build connections. I want to build relationships. I want people to understand that we're not the boogeyman. I want people to understand that we are here really just to provide the full puzzle pieces to these students, and they can choose whatever it is that they believe in, as long as they know why they believe in it. That's all we want. That's all we want.
Now, yeah, like I was talking to Jonathan yesterday, and I said, you know, I think it should even go further, like high schools, middle schools. And so that was great to hear that it's going in that direction, because this reminds me of what Sharice Lane talked about last year. I don't know if you remember her, but she was the young lady at FAMU that was trying to start a young Republican club. And she said she could not find a faculty member to agree to do it due to pressure from the administration. So this is not a new thing that Pierre is saying. This has been happening all around the country, unfortunately. So based on that, post-tour stops, has there been increased interest in Brexit? Like, have people been reaching out at universities, coming to you and saying, hey, we're having these problems? Like, what are some steps? Like, what's advice that you would give if they run into these hurdles?
Yeah, I think with the thing about the media is, you know, sometimes they end up, they try to push a narrative, but then they lose control of it, because right now the narrative is like we're chaotic and we're crazy and we're all this stuff. But what it's actually doing is shining a light on what we're really doing. People are doing some research for themselves, and there are students who have reached out to my team and I who are like, hey, I want to do this on this campus. This is the problems I'm having. So we're working with those students right now. Again, it's not going to be an easy process, because I truly believe that there should be more oversight into these schools when they have so much power over what clubs they can allow or don't allow, including in the public universities. Like it's a shame how much I think some of them are getting away with, and I think there needs to be more oversight because when we're leaving it to these schools who are the ones who can truly authorize these clubs, that they're doing everything in their power. Even if they have students or a faculty advisor who's saying, "Hey, I support it. I'll sign on for them." It's still being held up, you know. So we're not going to sit here and promise the road is going to be easy. But for these students who are out there and they feel like they're alone, know that you're not. Know that you do have us. We do have lawyers. We do have the financial resources. We have the ability to help amplify your voice because your voice should be heard too, just like your peers. So, yeah, we're getting a lot of different people reaching out. We just launched 2 more clubs directly as a result of ETL, Educate to Liberate. And then we have a ton more students that we're working with right now. So we're seeing the growth, and that's why we can't stop. That's exactly why we can't stop.
Can you tell us about actions Blexit is doing to serve in the communities that many people may not know?
Yeah, so the Educate to Liberate, road trip that we're on has gotten so much attention, but that actually is not even the biggest part of Blexit. The biggest part of Blexit is our city chapters. So we have chapters like that are not related to what we do on campus, that are just in local communities, and they do. Most chapters do 2 to 3 activism days, or as some people know them as events, a month. And these are community-led events. So I'll give you an example. Some people say, oh, well, there's already groups that do clothing drives or food drives. Well, the difference is when Blexit, if we do a clothing drive, we do a food drive, we're not just going to give you food and a coat and then say, hey, enjoy that, have a good day, and then see you back again next week or 2 weeks from now. What we're doing is if you come and you get something from us, we want to have a conversation with you. We're not trying to be invasive or intrusive, but we want to understand what it is that got you into this position so that we can help. If you don't have a job, okay, cool. We have individuals who we can help share some job opportunities and maybe make it easier for you to land one. If you're someone that's like, I've never done interview, like I don't even know how to interview for a job. We get a lot of people like that. Like, I don't know how to, I don't know interview tips. I've never done a real interview. We can do mock interviews with you. We have professionals that can do that with you. If you don't have a resume, we have resume writers. Whatever the root is that has caused you to be in this situation where you're unable to take care of yourself, we want to help, so we like to refer to it as a hand up versus a handout, because a handout you're going to continue to need another handout, another one. Whereas if we give you a hand up, the goal is that you'll be able to stand on your own 2 feet. So at some point, and we truly believe that that's going to be better than anything that the government can give you and any free item you can get at a food drive. So that's the key thing for us. And I guess another way to put that is we want to teach people how to fish versus bring them to fish. So that's what our chapters are doing. They do that through all sorts of different creative events. We've done things in community centers. We've done socials where we're getting to know the community. We've done our block parties, again, where we'll have vendors set up, like job training, job hiring on the spot, along with food and music and all that performances. We don't think it has to be boring either. If anybody has been to a Blexit event, they'll know that you're going to hear good music, you're going to get some good food, it's going to feel like the culture, because we don't believe this has to be some boring political, you're in a 3-piece suit speech where we're just, preaching at you about what you're doing wrong. We want you we want to embrace the parts that we feel like is the best thing about the community while also uplifting the community. So you get a little bit of a mixture of that at our events.
Yeah, that's true. The music was fun and the food was good. So he's not lying.
We try to make it a good time. People call sometimes like our liberation show, for example, people say this feels like a family reunion. I'm like, that's good. We wanted to.
Yeah. It was fun. Gray, is there any other questions you want to ask?
No, Pierre. Thank you for coming. I think what you guys are doing is important. I wish you great success. Hopefully we can do this again.
I have one more thing. I just want to show how people can join. Pierre, if you can let them know, I'm going to share the screen.
Yes, definitely go to Blexit.com. Yep. www.blexit.com.
And then you can hit join a chapter. You learn about the chapter. So definitely go check it out. Join Blexit. It's a great organization, great for the community. And I really appreciate Pierre coming. Pierre, what's your closing thoughts?
More than anything, I say this, whenever I have a chance to, whether it's a podcast or whether I'm on stage, I just encourage people at the end to get involved, whatever that looks like for you. Even if it's not Brexit, if it's something else. But I think we're at a place where we need everyone to get involved. And, for some people that may be donating, for some people that may be actually, boots on the ground. For some people, it may be, doing a podcast like what you guys are doing and spreading the message. Get involved whatever way you can. I think that no matter what side of the aisle you're on, no matter what you believe in, no matter what your stance is, it's going to take all of us if we're going to put this country on the right track. So get involved, pray about it, and make sure you find a way to give back to your country.
Yeah, and everyone, please go check out more from Brexit. Do your own research, and we really appreciate you for coming, Pierre. Make sure you guys, again, like he said, pray about it and get involved.
Thank you, guys.